artificial intelligence. So let's start with the definition. The definition of artificial intelligence is the ability of a computer or other machine to perform those activities that are normally thought to require intelligence, or the branch of computer science concerned with the development of these machines having this ability. So when I think of artificial intelligence, I think of robots. But artificial intelligence is so much more than that. And here are some examples of artificial intelligence that we use in our everyday lives. So artificial intelligence, or AI, can include things like your smartphone, especially Siri, Google, or Alexa. Any program that can respond to you is a great example of artificial intelligence. Smart cars, and not only the cars that can drive themselves, but the cars that can now brake for you, or that beep when there is a car next to you and you're trying to merge into the next lane, and the backup camera that beeps at you when there is a car coming when you are trying to reverse. There are social media feeds such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, your streaming services such as Netflix or Spotify, when they come up with songs that you may like because you've liked this song before. Online ads, obviously, if you've been Googling tomatoes, it's going to give you an ad for tomatoes. And your navigation apps such as Waze or Google Maps, anything that can tell where you are and tell you where you should go next based on what you've input into it. So obviously artificial intelligence includes more things, more technologies that we use in our daily lives, as well as the robots that we typically think of. So now that we've got a definition of what artificial intelligence is, let's talk about how we can use it in education. So first, let's start with how we currently use artificial intelligence in the classroom. So two main ways that we are using artificial intelligence in the classroom now are through smart content and intelligent tutoring systems. Smart content are usually online textbooks that allow the students to interact with the text, such as highlighting, built-in videos, or assessments at the end of the reading. We actually use smart content in my classroom that I am student teaching in through a program called Studies Weekly, and in this program the students use an online textbook for their social studies text where they get the text read to them, they can read it themselves, they can highlight it, they can watch videos that are embedded in the text, and then after they're done with the chapter, they actually take the chapter test online. Intelligent tutoring systems are systems that aim to provide immediate, customized feedback to learners without the intervention of a human teacher. So one example of this is called the Mathematics Tutor. So it's an online program that helps students with math by recording the success rate while the student works and provides problems for the student to solve according to what they are struggling with. So these two programs are used in classrooms currently, but their use is not very widespread. So now let's talk about what could be, how we could use artificial intelligence in our education system. So one way that we could use artificial intelligence is to automate basic functions such as grading. We could have these programs input our grades for us so we don't have to spend time doing that. Artificial intelligence can also make instruction very student-centered. It could provide us with the areas that students struggle with, and it could also work with those students to improve those areas. It can create learning that is very tailored to the needs or the interests of the students. And this actually was a prediction in lesson 7 about the educational trends that will be happening this year. And a couple educational technologists said that technology is going to become very personalized and very student-centered. So I thought that was interesting to add. It can also provide teacher feedback. So it can look at us. What are we doing well? What are we not doing not so well? How can we improve as teachers to help our students? What standards are we not hitting hard enough? What standards are we doing well at? AI tutors I talked about in the last slide, where we can have programs that track student success and pinpoint exactly where our students are struggling. It can gather data for us and tell us exactly where a student is struggling. So not only are they struggling with the math chapter on angles, they're struggling to use a protractor to measure those angles. And it can also help us with group formation. So it can analyze our classes to find the best grouping for specific tasks. For instance, maybe you have a group that works really well together when they do a science project, but that same group might not work if you are asking them to do a book report. So AI can actually look at how your students function, and it can tell you the best group for each task. So of course, with everything, there are benefits and drawbacks to it. So first, we're going to look at the benefits of using artificial intelligence in our educational system. And I touched on this a lot in the previous slide, so I'm just going to briefly go over this. But it can make us better teachers. It can offer us feedback. It can make us better organized, more productive. It can tell us exactly where a student is struggling and how we can improve that. It can personalize learning for our students, making learning more enjoyable and the content more accessible for students with special needs. And it can also give us real-time assessment. So we don't have to wait until we grade tests. It can grade automatically for us, and we can know exactly what the students struggled with and what they did really well. So with the benefits, there also has to be drawbacks. So we're going to talk about some of the drawbacks. Like anything technology related, artificial intelligence costs a lot of money, something that schools and districts don't have a lot of. It has the potential to become addictive. Students and teachers can become dependent on it, like with spell check currently. I know that personally, there are some words that I need to type into a computer because I can't remember how to spell it. So we've become dependent on spell check or autocorrect, and some of us have lost the ability to spell more complex words. Technology also lacks that personal connection. It has the ability to make our students lose the ability to communicate effectively face to face or form personal relationships on the playground or in person and not online. Artificial intelligence also lacks the intuition that humans have. It doesn't know that Sally is now really struggling academically because she just lost her mom to cancer. And it doesn't know that Bobby just needs a break from staring at the computer screen and Bobby needs to go take a walk. To artificial intelligence, our students are just data. So that can be a really tricky thing too. Also, some of the research has stated that some teachers are concerned about becoming unemployed because artificial intelligence could potentially do their job. And there's also, we could lose information. The picture in the right-hand corner explains this really well. If we depend on artificial intelligence or technology in general, and it crashes or malfunctions, do we lose all of our grades and all of our data? That can be a really frustrating scenario. So these are some of the drawbacks that we need to think about when we talk about putting artificial intelligence into our education system. So final thoughts. The question really comes down to, do the benefits outweigh the drawbacks? We have to decide what is best for our students. So in my opinion, like with most things, I think it should be a compromise. I think that there are some really great benefits to artificial intelligence that could really help our students. But at the same time, I don't think that we should completely 100% depend on it, because technology can be faulty sometimes. So I think that we should kind of pick and choose what we use it for and use it to assist us as teachers, but not fully rely on it. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to what different school districts or schools or institutions think about it. And last but not least, these are all of the references I used in making this presentation. So this has been my MARP presentation on artificial intelligence in education. I hope that you learned something new.